Hi and welcome here to my channel. My name is Fabiana and in today's tutorial I'm gonna try and replicate this beanie here that I'm showing in this image. It's a balaclava beanie and with a face opening and a front ribbing. That's really cool. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to make this one because the face opening, because there's a few options that I want to show you. But I kind of chose the colors. I think I'm going to use the grays, but I have all these options here, so I don't know what you guys think, which color should I make. And if you are making yours, just comment down below which color are you thinking to make, because this is a great pattern for winter, I think, because it covers all the neck. And because of the way I'm going to try and make it, it's gonna be a little wider on the neck, so it's gonna fit really nicely. I'm going to be using my Sentro 48 to do that, but you can also use your Addi 46 if that's what you have, or even probably your Prim 40. And another good thing about this balaclava is that you can also make it for men and for kids, and I'm going to leave down the description below if you want to make any other size. It's all calculated in the pattern for you guys, okay? So before we start making this beanie, what I want you to do is just measure from here to here, like from where you want the cowl to sit on your shoulder. And then with this measurement, because I already know the gauge, I use this yarn. This yarn here is a worsted weight yarn, and I used a few times in many other projects, so I know it has 20 rows in 4 inches or 20 rows in 10 centimeters, which means that I'm going to have 2 rows to each centimeter that I measured here. So let's get started, guys, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I made this beautiful beanie for winter. So lately I've been enjoying doing this. Just as you know, I like drawing all my patterns, so it's just easier to access on a notebook like this. And I've been enjoying to do this. I just place the label on the page so I know which yarn that I used. And so for this tutorial, I'm going to be using a yarn that's 100 grams and 200 meters, or 3.5 ounces and 218 yards if you are in America. So let's get this beanie started, guys. I'm going to be casting on 35 stitches only. Stitch number 35. Then you put the yarn underneath here and inside the yarn guide, and let's make our first row. I'm going to be making 4 rows with the waste yarn. Every time you reach here, if the yarn doesn't go to the bottom of this last needle, just make sure you put it way down to the bottom. And the same way when the row starts. Also, I like to pull the yarn with my finger just to apply some tension on the beginning of the row. This way the edges, they look more neat at the end. And here as well, put it down to the bottom. That way you avoid skipping stitches or dropping stitches. And then remove this yarn here, and we're gonna start working with our first color. And so let's start with this pattern. I'm going to leave a little longer tail because what we are going to do is, after we finish this long panel, we are going to seam it with the matrix stitch. So just leave a little long tail, and then you can decide how long you want your ribbing to go for. I'm going to be making 30 rows of ribbing on both ends, okay? So I'm going to start with 30 rows now, just with this color here. Then just place the yarn on the beginning and make the rows. And make sure you have some sort of digital row counter, because I don't even have a row counter. I removed mine because it wasn't working. And so make sure you have a digital one. I have a link down in the description below for a purple one that a lot of people like, if you want to purchase that one. And because the Sentro doesn't count rows on the panel mode. So again, I'm making 32 rows now, okay, and then I'm going to change colors a few times. And then now I'm going to start making my stripes. So I'm going to be making 2 rows on each color. And because of that, all I'm going to do is, instead of cut the yarn, I'm going to just swap the yarns on the beginning of the rows. Just go to this beginning of this row, pull the stitch down to the bottom, and then insert the new yarn. You don't need a long tail in this case, just a short one's enough. And then now make 2 rows with this yarn here. Pull the yarn for the edge. And then I have now 34 rows. I'm going to put this yarn inside, grab the other yarn, just like this. Remove here from this first needle that doesn't need it. I'm going to tie it off later, and make sure that the stitch just before is tied as well, otherwise it's gonna be too loose on the edges at the end. And then put inside the yarn guide. So you want to make these 32 rows on the other end as well. So just make sure when you have 32 rows left to do from your total rows, for me is 130 that I calculated, you just change and make solid color on the other side for 32 rows as well. If you are enjoying this tutorial, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel, and also leave me your comment, let me know which color are you making for this beautiful pattern. And now guys, I made all my rows here, and I hope this is long enough. You can measure with the tape if you want as well. And now I'm just gonna make a full row with no yarn. This actually, all these color changes took me around an hour to make. I didn't think it was gonna take that long, but it did. So just gonna now make a full row without the yarn. And then just grab my tapestry needle and remove all the stitches one by one. And I'm going to leave this tail here just because I want to bind off the stitches, and then I don't need to, you know, make another knot and just attach another tail there. If this was a solid color, I think this would be a really fast beanie to make. And I actually have no idea if this is gonna be the right size or not. But just so you know guys, I'm going to, if the size is wrong and if I think it's too short or too long, I'm going to just correct it for the pattern, so you guys have the right measurements in the pattern to download. And let's see now guys if this is gonna fit or not. Make sure you stretch it all up. I hope you guys can see me, but I'm going to put this. I'm thinking it's a little too short, but what do you guys think? It could be a little longer, you think? And then to the back here. Because it's all curled, it's gonna be much, much wider here. And I think it's actually the right width for me. I'm making an extra ribbing here. I think it could be a little longer, okay, maybe around 20 rows longer if you're making this. Okay, so let's put it together and see how this is gonna turn out. And now guys, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to remake this for a ribbing. And so to do that, I'm going to just remove this yarn here, this waste yarn. Just slip all the stitches through this other yarn here, just so they are loose and I can open them and remake as I go. The needles, each one of the stitches this way, like this. Now before you guys make this part here, make sure you try it on your head and see where you want to finish the ribbing, because I don't think I want the ribbing the whole way, so I'm making only 22 rows here. And then here on this side, because the tail is on the right side, I'm going to actually bind off and make the stitches. So just yarn over, pull through, and then go to the second stitch, yarn over, pull through. Because remember, we are making this only on the third stitch, only because we're gonna match stitch on both sides, and this stitch here, the first one, is gonna go in. So I'm going to remove this one here, and then now I'm going to open this for 23 rows. I made 23 on the other side. And now go and just flip it over and work on the wrong side and remake the stitches as a knit stitch where is bow. And make sure you don't miss any of these loops here on the back, otherwise you have to remake like me. But I think it will look really nice at the end. I really do. I like these stripes, even though I'm not a big fan of gray, but it's just neutral, and I wanted to make a neutral color for this one. So I ended up choosing this color because I was thinking even on the red and cream together, they will look really nice. And then once you made it all, just make sure they're all made and you didn't miss any one, because we are going to bind off here. So pull it, not too tight, just enough. Yarn over, pull through. And then, because the next one is a 1 by 1, this one was a purl stitch, the next one we are going to bind off as well, because it's one purl, one knitted stitch, one purl stitch, and now it's one purl again. I'm going to open all the way until I reach that same stitch here. It's actually easier, and this is a tip for you guys. It's actually easier to spot on the wrong side where to stop unraveling this. So I'm gonna flip it over now to show you guys. Here. So here you can easily see that they are on the same row here, other than the front. On the front's a little harder for some reason to see. And then you just stop unraveling on that one and start remaking. So guys, I'll be making this. It actually looks much nicer on the other side, I think. Look at this. It looks really nice on the other side for some reason. Well, anyway, I'm gonna be remaking all this side too, and then I'll come back with you just to show you how to put it all together. Now on this side, guys, that I have to reopen, unfortunately, I have to open again because there's a lot of mistakes, as you can see here. So what I decided to do, after binding off all the stitches on the other side, I'm going to bind off these ones as I go as well, with that same yarn that I finished on the other side. And so bind off the first one, and then bind off the second one. And then I'm going to reopen this again because I made extra rows here, and I made a few mistakes on the bottom as well. So I'm just gonna open all the way. So I'm just gonna finish this, bind off all the way there, and then we are going to just put together with the mattress stitch and see how we go with this ribbing here. And so right now, before you make this part here, just make sure you try it on like I'm doing here. And then as well, when you're trying it on, just see where you wanna start the hole for the face. And then place a marker just underneath it, just on the limit where you want the hole for the face open. And that's why I made 2 stitches here. They are both knitted stitches. That's so I could seam with the mattress stitch now. Now I'm going to go through the bottom here, just so they both align. And then into the other side through 2 of the other side rows, and here the same thing, 2 rows. So I'm going to be seaming all the way to where the marker is before I make our ribbing for the front. So I'm going to make this. I'm going to seam here. And you can also finish with a crochet row just to make sure this is perfect here. I don't like the look of this. But anyway, I'm going to seam all the way to here and then make a knot and finish this off. And then with this same stitch, I'm going to mattress stitch all the way from here to here as well. Now guys, to make the ribbing of this balaclava, it's pretty nice, I think. I actually really like the size and everything. But because the bottom ribbing is already knitted, I'm going to be making the ribbing, the face ribbing as well, where I'm going to put the I cord through. I'm going to be making with a circular knitting needle. But you guys can make crochet. I'm gonna be explaining on the way how to make this with crochet if you prefer to make crochet, okay? Because I know a lot of people don't like knitting much, so I'm going to give you both options for this pattern. And also, like, this is a really great beanie for men because you can make it bigger if you want. So I'm going to be sharing in the pattern. And I would really appreciate if you guys could purchase this pattern because that really helps my business. And also, I put them for a very cheap price on Etsy, so go there and grab yours. I'm going to calculate sizes from kids all the way to men, okay? So it's all gonna be calculated, and I'm also gonna change a little bit this one because I think it could be a little longer and maybe even wider, okay? So I'm going to change all this stuff in the pattern, but for tutorial reasons and just to explain a few little parts, this tutorial is enough for you guys to just understand what I'm doing. Now guys, if you have a kit like this of knitting needles, what I like you to choose is, you can choose either the 4.5 or the 5 millimeters. I like to use the 5 millimeters. So I'm going to attach these two wires here. As you can see, they're almost the same size. And with this piece here, I actually didn't know what this was before. This is to do this. Someone told me in a video, I didn't know it. So you put in a little hole there and you just do this just to secure the wire. And you repeat the same thing to all of them. I'm going to attach a piece of yarn right on the beginning here. And just make a knot. And hide this inside. Now, you can use the hook to do that, or you can use just the needle, the knitting needle. So I'm going to put through this first hole here and just bring this way. And then I'm going to go into the next one and grab the second one as well. And then I'm going to skip this one and get the next one. And then the next one. And I'm going to skip this next one here. So I'm going to grab 2 stitches and I'm going to skip one. And I'm going to skip one. Now, if you are making crochet, with crochet this changes a little bit. With crochet, I like to make 1 double crochet, and you can always start, I would start this row making just single crochet all around it, and I would make 1 single crochet every 2 rows, okay? So I would do 1 single crochet to every 2 knitted stitches instead, okay? Also, make sure you follow always that same stitch, okay? Now, after you finish picking up all the stitches, this is what you should have. And because I should finish this way, and because I'm working on the round, I'm going to flip the work over and I'm going to work that way now. Because we are not going to close the front, I just want to fold and be able to pass the I-cord through to make the lace on the front for this type of design. But you could also make it round if you want. It's just add a stitch right in the middle here where you made the mattress stitch before. Just pick up with the crochet hook and put inside the circular needle and then work on the round if you don't want to use the cord on the bottom, okay? If you just want the face opening. So I'm just gonna make a bow stitch to start with. It's gonna be a little tricky to grab it, but you just make 2 bow stitches to start, and I'm going to make 2 bow stitches to finish as well. So I have 2 knitted stitches on the right side of my work. Okay, the bow stitch is a bow on the back, but if you turn around, it's a knit stitch, so that's why. And then I'm going to knit 1 and bow 1, knit this way, and then purl, put the yarn on the top and grab the stitch this way. Knit and purl. knit and pull. Guys, if you are making crochet, I'm going to share a drawing now and a chart of the crochet stitch you can use as well. And just keep pulling the stitches through the wire as you make it, all the way until you reach this part here. There's a gap, so it's really easy to spot. If you want to place a marker here, place a marker as well. Then now I'm going to the next row, so I'm going to just flip it over, just like this. And then as you can see, I'm going to start with 2 knitted stitches on the front side, on the right side. And so I'm going to knit 1. Actually, this first stitch, you normally just grab it, you don't make it for some reason. That's how my mom used to make it, and that's how she taught me, so that's the way I make it. So you pick the first one, you knit the second one, and then you purl. As you can see, there's a purl stitch there, and then you're gonna purl. So you have to be able to spot the difference in between the stitches, so you don't make a mistake. So while I was making the ribbing, I was making as well my I-cord on my Cowl electric I-cord maker, and that's what it did. I'm gonna show you here in a second, and I have a discount code if you guys want to purchase this I-cord maker. For me, it's the best I-cord maker because, you know, while I was doing this, it was making this for me, so I didn't even have to touch the machine just on the beginning. So I don't know, guys, do you think it's too thick? And the reason, so I made it because I wanted to see how wide I needed this ribbing to be. Let me know what you guys think. Would you make an I-cord that's a little more thin, just a crochet one? I kind of like this one. So I'm going to just bind off to show you guys. So just turn the work, start always on the same side where the tail is. And I like to bind off the stitches on the right side, facing the right side, just because you will look exactly like this when you finish. And so let's do it, guys. It was 10 rows, by the way, but you can make as thick as you want. So just put them like this, and I'm going to knit every single stitch. Just remove this first one, and then knit the second one. Pull the first one in front of the second one. And then I'm going to knit them all. So knit, and then pull on top, knit, pull the stitch on top. Make sure this guy here is not too tight, okay? Otherwise, you will have a tight finish, and we don't want that because we're gonna fold and seam it on the back. Okay, guys, so I'm going to finish this bind off all around, and then I'm gonna show you quickly how to seam on the back, just to fold it like this so we can put our I-cord through it. And then now, guys, just make a little knot with the last loop at the end, and then if you want, and I think you wouldn't need to pass the I-cord through after, so I'm just seaming with the I-cord inside already. And then I'm going to go for this first stitch here on the other side here. Just to secure it. And then through this one. And then I'm going through 2 of them right in that row where we pick up the stitches. That was the first one. And then I'm going to go this way here through this and this, just like this. go through this and into the very next one here. And here and into the next one there. Just go, make sure you go from the same amount of rows on both sides. So I'm gonna go all around, seaming always on this part here. So guys, this is our beanie. I'm gonna try it on to show you guys, but I'm really happy with it. It could fit a kid as well, only because of the size or a small head. I would definitely make a few extra rows for a larger head. As you can see, the face opening could be a little wider. So I'm gonna fix that in the pattern. But other than that, and I think the whole thing could be a little longer. But other than that, I'm really happy about it. I think the big lace is cool as well. Definitely a great pattern for cold days, guys. And what is great about it, I think, is that you can make for men as well. If you are making for men, just make sure you close the whole thing and make just the hole without, of course, the I-cord. I don't know if men like this. They could probably just use like this. I don't know. What do you think about my color choice? What colors are you thinking of making? Now I'm going to leave the next link here, guys, is to make a raglan sweater just to match with this beautiful beanie, if you made it. And then you can follow that and make a sweater next. Thank you all, guys, for watching. Make sure you leave me your like, because all these videos and patterns give me like a week of work. So I highly appreciate if you guys can do that for me. Just leave me your like, subscribe to my channel. And I'll keep making tutorials for you guys. Now let me remove this because it's really hot in Brazil. We're having Carnival next week, so I'm really excited about that. Thank you all for watching, guys, and have a great weekend. Bye!